Hello, brothers and sisters, and thank you for joining me. I bring to you a message of the precession of the equinoxes, or the days and nights of Brahma, as some call it. And essentially, what it has to do with is understanding the season that we are in. Our Earth goes through a 365-day year, and also has an even larger year that is nearly 26,000 years. The reason why this story is so important to everybody living in our age is because it can help us understand the season that we're in and why things are the way they are, and ultimately to understand that they are this way for a very good reason. I'll first start by going over a basic of the 365-day year and the summer and winter and how the two are related. So if this is the sun and this is the earth, which spins like this for our days and nights, but it also does have a slight tilt to it. And when our earth travels around the sun, this is winter and this is summer. And that's because this tilt is tilted towards our sun, and the energy from the sun is able to go in through the top of the gravitational field, which is a torus shape, and radiate out. So here's summer and here's winter. Now this 26,000 year cycle that I'd like to call the days and nights of Brahma, or the summers and winters of Earth, has to do with this spin and this tilt. So if we were to spin a top on a table, that top would spin really fast like this, but it would also have a little wobble to it. Now that wobble is what that tilt of our Earth is. And when that tilt is tilted towards the center of the Milky Way galaxy, we are experiencing a type of summer. And when it's tilted away from the center of the Milky Way galaxy, we are experiencing a type of winter. And this is a 26,000 year cycle. It's a very slow wobble. As our Earth is spinning day and night, the tilt only moves very slowly, 1 degree every 71 years. So when this tilt is tilted towards the center of the Milky Way galaxy, we are experiencing a summer that's roughly 13,000 years. And when it's tilted away, we're experiencing a winter that's roughly 13,000 years. Now, this is a long time, and it can be difficult for us who only live 100 years if we're lucky to relate to the effects of these summers and winters. But in our 365-day year, we can understand how in winter, the trees lose their foliage and growth stops. It's as if everything is disconnected from life source, or what I will call spirit. And as things are disconnected from spirit, we're also disconnected from each other. The way that the foliage is lost from the trees, our connection to each other is lost in human beings. And as we have been in the winter period of this 26,000 year cycle, people are able to do things without the acknowledgement that they may be bad. And it's also important to note the value that winter brings to our experience. The winter time is about survival of the fittest, because things get hard and cold. And if we are not willing to step up to the challenge and overcome winter, then we die. And death is okay too, because those elements of the dying entities are what the earth uses as elements to bring forward life and birth for the next season or year. Essentially, Earth is a closed environment, and nearly everything already has form. So in order for new things to take form, there has to be things that are destroyed so those elements can be brought forward to create with in the future. So winter serves a very valuable purpose, and in fact I heard about a world where the gods created a world with no winter, and everything was amazing and lovely, and everybody was in a perpetual state of ease and enjoyment. But as time progressed, nobody evolved, and ultimately we became fat and lazy and lethargic, which produced even more problems than the problems that we are experiencing right now. So I tell you this story because it has helped me understand why things seem to be so chaotic and dysfunctional and negative in our world, when ultimately that's the season that we are. It's kind of like we're in winter and we just can't rationalize why it's so cold, or why it just feels so nasty that all this snow is around. And if we don't recognize that we are in a cycle that lasts 26,000 years, and we only focus on what's going on in today's day and in our life right now, then some of us can be inspired to lose life appreciation, which is completely understandable if your reference points are limited to where we are right now. So I encourage everybody to have faith that as time progresses, we will in fact come around again to a golden age, or a time of enlightenment and a time of spiritual unity, where people aren't able to do things like rape and murder and wars and stealing and all these things that we see going on in our societies today. These things are going on in our societies because nature has to embody itself and manifest in this world in some way. Winter has to create circumstances that produce strife and difficulty and encourage us to continue on and overcome something that often seems unovercomable. Now, that is the very natural aspect of these seasons. And one thing that I am seeing as a common theme in videos, in alternative media, is that the moon is not where it should be. I recently saw a post from a guy who installed solar panels years ago, and he says that the sun is not where it is. He's had to adjust his solar panels nearly 20 degrees. And this got me thinking about our planet and the tilt, and if this tilt could be artificially moved. So, for the sake of respect to the Mayan calendar, which says that the tilt is in its winter aspect right now, but the winter aspect just ended in 2012. So you may have heard that the Mayans were attributed with this story that the world was going to end, or that their calendar ended in 2012, December 2012, but it ends and starts over the way our common calendar starts over from December 31st to January 1st. And that cutoff point happens at two places: when it is finished the winter and just starting to come back around to the summer, and then there's another time where it's been in the summer the whole time and now it's just starting to go back into the winter. And in 2012 we just finished our 13,000 years in winter, and now we're starting to come back again into summer. But I believe that there may be benevolent forces at work on our earth to artificially change that tilt in a much faster time and not take the 13,000 years to get back around into the summertime. Now, this is my own personal idea, and I really only have my own understandings of different topics that I've researched in my life. But for the sake of this discussion, I would like to put forward the idea that a technologically advanced race, which has colonized our planet, is using a type of anti-gravitational propulsion on our planet to essentially use it as thrusters. You know, imagine the planet and you can attach a thruster, and now you have the ability to create a push that can turn the planet. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my understanding of one type of anti-gravitational engine, and it has to do with spinning a substance or perhaps a metal one way, and very close to it, spinning the same substance the opposite direction. So as an object travels through the ether or through the space that it's in, there is an effect radius. This area right around it is affected by this movement, and it is affected in the same manner that relates to the object moving. But if this object rotates really fast one way, and then we put an opposite rotating object right under it, then this space in between is amplified. The effect is amplified. And if these objects spin fast enough, they can actually grab that space in between and thus create its own gravitational field around the machine. So one of the most common patents for anti-gravitational devices, and there are over 1,500 of them in the US Patent Library, is an engine that uses a liquid metal, potentially a type of mercury or any type of liquid metal, that is then encouraged to spin by electromagnetic impulses. And as this liquid spins really fast one way and really fast the other way, this grabbing onto the environment creates its own gravitational field. Now I'm telling you about this because there is an absurdly large mechanism on planet Earth right now that rotates molecules one way really fast and the other way really fast. And then they say they crash these molecules into each other to learn more about the molecules. And I am talking about CERN. And ultimately these programs and these endeavors that scientists go through have to be well-founded in positivity. Many people have the idea that bad things do happen, but I am a firm believer, because of my practices and the life that I've experienced and my transformation of past trauma into valuable, appreciative experiences has showed me that there are no truly negative things. And the more successful a thing is, speaks to the volumes of its ultimate contribution to positivity. And so I've seen a lot of videos online about how CERN could be opening up a portal from hell and, could destroy the world. But man, these people have built this, I don't know how many kilometers long this thing is underground. I mean, just one picture of the technology at CERN will tell you that whoever is building CERN and operating CERN, they are in control. They have resources. They are well connected, which ultimately means, whether or not they know it, they are contributing to our Earth's benefit and everybody else's ultimate benefit. Perhaps not in the beginning, the way trauma ultimately is experienced. And the example I give is that when we go to the gym to exercise or go for a run or go for a hike, our body is burning and we can't breathe properly. But ultimately, that is for our benefit. We become healthier because of it. So there are experiences in life that seem traumatic or seem negative, but through our own understanding and use of that negativity, we can transform it into a positive. And I want CERN to be doing this for our benefit. I really don't think it's possible. I don't think the creative forces of this world would give such technology and such abundance to ultimately destroy us. It seems silly that the creator or the universe would create us and then give technology to people who are going to just destroy us. And that does touch on another perception of mine. And I would like to put forward to everybody listening here that it is more plausible and more smart to believe that nature is not arbitrarily and randomly atrocious to anybody, but rather any trauma that anybody experiences, whether it's through sickness or abuse from a loved one or a place of power, all of this is a part of nature. And nature only gives gifts. Sometimes the gifts aren't what we like that feeling of burning at the gym, but they are ultimately for our benefit. So I like the saying that it is more plausible that man has created circumstances for himself to learn from, often through trauma, than it is that nature is arbitrarily atrocious and negative. So, I put that to you guys. I don't know what you think. Give me some feedback if you'd like. My name's Wegadesk, and I want to close this video by reminding everybody that Jesus said everything that he can do, you can do, and more. Bless y'all.